Hello, everyone. Welcome to another soulful sip conversation. Last time we talked about the art of conversation. And if you might recall, conversation meant turning together. It was us coming together and bringing our different perspectives holistically so we can learn from each other. We can hear each other's perspectives. And hopefully, with that dance of different ideas and perspectives, we can bring different sides together and have a different form of understanding, have a different form of awakening within ourselves as well. In that sense, art of contemplation is very similar to art of conversation. The primary difference is contemplation is an art primarily done alone. When you look into the definition of contemplation, contemplation means seeing something, observing something, instead of doing it with someone else. This time we are observing something, seeing it with all of the faculties that we have as a human being. This means we are using our minds to think about something. We are using our feelings to feel it. What kind of stories come up? How do we feel about it? And lastly, it's a physical, bodily contemplation, seeing it within our bodies. What does this bring up in me, in my body? Where do I feel it? Is it expansive? Is it giving me some sort of restrictions? And more than anything else, art of contemplation is a slow burn. It's a slow process. It starts with an intention of seeing things differently from all different angles. And once we start the journey, we need to hold the space for the journey, for the insights to reveal itself. In my personal life, I think I've been practicing art of contemplation more than a few decades for sure. I've been journaling for 3 decades for now. And I think if we see contemplation in a more conscious manner, meaning integrating all of the lessons, I can say that it has been a more conscious practice of my daily life, definitely over the last decade. Before, I was always writing things down and consuming different things and following things from a more mental pattern, but I deepened my relationship with the understanding of my own feelings and bodily sensations a lot more over the last decade. So I can say that it has been a deepening journey. The more that I practice, the more that I eased into the process, the more it's coming alive in me. And during this time, the last decade was another interesting realization for me that this has been an art that has been there. I just didn't know how to name it. Art of contemplation is one of the core principles the leader of Gene Keys, Richard Rudd, talks about. And I will borrow from his definition just to give a little more context into what contemplation might mean. So there are actually two different paths for understanding life or realizing our full potential as human beings, realizing our higher self and manifesting that in the world. One path is the left brain path, where Richard Rudd calls it as concentration path. In my own terminology, I would say it's more the path of yoga, where you acknowledge that you are not united. Yoga means becoming whole again. So, as a human being, you acknowledge that you're not at your fullest potential yet. Thus, through self discipline, through concentration and dedication and commitment to that higher ideal that you know you can achieve, that unity ideal, you work towards it. So that's most of the left brain path where, as a warrior, you bring all of your self discipline towards dedication to this higher ideal. And then you do daily workouts, you do depending on the path that you're following, different kind of rituals that will hopefully bring more of that higher ideal in you and help you to embody that higher ideal in your own body, in your own emotions, in your own belief systems. That's most of the left brain path. And right brain path is a little bit more softer, a little bit more gentler in Richard Roth's terminology, and actually in my own terminology as well. It could be the path of meditation. In this path, you don't really do anything, unlike the left path. You just surrender. You surrender to life. Like in meditation, you just observe things. You just let things to happen. And as an observer, you use whatever is happening in your life and whatever those things are triggering in you, your beliefs, your feelings, the sensations, your body, just observe yourself and just to let things go so that through that observation, through that non judgmental acceptance, you realize that there is an inner realization emerging in you. But you don't arrive there with concentration and dedicated efforts. You just surrender and let things just happen. So it's a path of trust, it's a path of ease. There are different definitions for this, but it's like life is flowing as a river in front of your eyes, and you're just sitting by the river and just observing. Sometimes judging, sometimes not judging, seeing everything. What are my thoughts? What are my emotions? How am I feeling in my body? So, seeing this way, these are two seemingly conflicting paths, and contemplation is sitting somewhere in the middle. It's leveraging parts of the left brain path, concentration, and parts of the meditation and surrendering path. You're still using your mind to think about something, but then you are also playfully, with a curiosity, allowing things to happen in its own timelines. So, in that sense, it's a sweet balance between those two modalities. Like, how can I consciously bring something to my attention, to my intention, learn more about it, read more about it, journal about it, ask questions, and let my mind to reveal my belief systems and try to see it from different angles by immersing myself into reading about it, thinking about it, but also allowing myself to remember my own stories. What does this triggering me in terms of the feelings? How do I feel when I think about this topic, when I think about this particular belief? And then ultimately taking that to the body and incorporating that bodily sensations in the process too. So, in that sense, it's actually integrating different parts of these two systems, using your mind in an active way, but surrendering the outcome to the process and being more gentle, thinking about this as a playful exploration where you are journeying to the depths of yourself. Richard Roth, in his book Art of Contemplation, shares a beautiful triple process that can go nicely well if you practice art of contemplation. The first thing is pausing. You just create some pauses in your life for that contemplation to happen. Then, if you use these faculties of your mind, your emotions, and your physical body, and be gentle with it, let it reveal its secrets in its own time, not your time. Over time, the second part of the process will happen. Pivot. This is that aha moment where something that was complex, that was not clear to us, will reveal itself and we will have clarity and we will have a shift in perspective. So, this is somehow related to that Einstein's famous quote that I always say, like, you cannot solve the problems with the same mind that generated the problem. In that aha moment, in that pivot moment, your consciousness will shift to a different level that you'll be able to see it from a different angle. Then, because you're able to see it from a different angle, the third part of the process is really merging that consciousness into you, into your belief systems. Now that you had that pivot experience, that aha experience, that understanding that was not there before, how can you bring that understanding, that feeling, that embodiment into you, into your life more? And that is the merging process. So everything starts with opening pauses in our lives so that the process can trigger a pivot, a different understanding. And then we let merging and integration to happen in the end. Isn't it beautiful? It's indeed a very beautiful process, and probably I will demonstrate the next one with the next topic. So, this week, my contemplation has been around the topic of compromise. I read a lot about compromise, and that triggered quite a lot of internal stories in my own life. And I had the time to feel everything that came with my previous compromises. And I let things happen in its own timelines. I allowed my body to feel all the pain, stiffness, sometimes anger. And it's still like a flower blooming in its own timelines. It's revealing each and every day a different kind of secret. So I'm trying to be gentle. I am patient. And like a mother, I'm nurturing whatever is supposed to emerge from that contemplation. And there's no strict timeline, so I am playing with it within the time frame of a week, but you can extend it to a month. You can shorten it down to a day. You can shorten it down to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think the critical thing is being open to exploration, to playfulness. So, my invitation here is really how can you play with this concept? Whatever is inviting you to explore it further, why don't you pick that and read more about that? Get inspiration around that topic. And why don't you feel whatever that topic is bringing in you? And can you also let your body to reveal its sensations in this process? And just give time. See whether that thing that you are showing interest will reflect that interest back to you and will reveal its secrets to you. To me, it's really this divine interaction that we always have. Like whenever you love something, you give your intention, attention, your time, energy, your body to it, right? That's what we mean by relationships. And this is really developing a relationship with yourself, with the things that you love. So, why don't you choose one thing that you love and let it penetrate into you? Well, that is the art of contemplation. I hope you bring more of its gifts into your life. With that, this is the end of this particular contemplation, and I'm eager to hear your results if you would like to share whatever you discovered at the end of your journey. Thank you all. See you in another Soulful Sip. Bye for now.